Over the course of 2013, a new regulatory regime was put into place for governing default superannuation funds in Australia. These funds are called MySuper funds. From the beginning of 2014, any contributions received from members who do not make a choice can only be invested in a MySuper fund. In addition, each provider is permitted to offer only one MySuper fund. This change in regulations had the effect of forcing providers to explicitly consider which product best meets the needs of their default members and their business. I was part of a team including academics from ANU, UNSW and UTS who took the opportunity to investigate how super fund providers went about designing their MySuper products. We did so by interviewing 28 fund executives from 20 funds. We asked our interviewees about how they perceived the needs of their default fund members and the key influences on their choice of MySuper design. In doing so, we uncover some intriguing insights into how fund providers go about catering for their default members who do not choose for themselves. We found that funds are balancing two competing forces. On one hand, they have a strong sense of their fiduciary obligations towards their members. Indeed, the desire to cater for the needs of members is portrayed as their primary concern. On the other hand, our interviewees were very aware of their role as product providers in a competitive industry. This brings a range of business considerations into the frame. Funds aim to offer a competitive product in terms of its performance, its fees and its features. They are also very aware of the need to cater for those who choose the fund provider, such as the sponsoring employers and financial advisors. Business considerations are described as subsidiary to meeting member needs, or perhaps as constraints to be met. Nevertheless, they remain influential. In terms of perceived member needs, the universal view is that they are related to retirement outcomes. The pervasiveness of this view was somewhat of a surprise. We expected to hear more from funds about how they are working towards delivering top quartile performance, but this wasn't the case. The industry has clearly embraced delivering retirement outcomes as their mission. Driving this point home were remarks that short-term relative performance is largely irrelevant for default fund members themselves, who don't focus on it anyway. Sponsoring employers, advisors, trustee boards and the media are seen as the ones that pay most attention to performance. Nevertheless, many fund executives did note that returns needed to be adequate over the long term to support retirement outcomes. And there is recognition that members don't like negative returns, especially near retirement. Another unexpected finding is how the majority of fund executives use language that aligns with the theory of life cycle investing. This was revealed by references to aspects such as retirement spending as a liability to be funded, the role of the pension and human capital as assets, and the need to address sequencing risk. Regarding the influences on MySuper design, the starting point for most providers is what they know about their particular members. Two things are worth noting here. First, funds are catering for a typical default fund member, which they often characterise as disengaged and poorly informed. They did so knowing that oversimplifying and that a one-size-fits-all approach that is required under MySuper is not necessarily ideal. Second, funds are servicing member bases that can vary considerably. We heard about funds with largely disengaged young members with small balances, funds with older members who are beginning to care as their balances grow and retirement looms, funds that are catering for a specific niche, and funds with members that cover the full spectrum. Other important influences on MySuper fund design include regulatory requirements, product positioning, including balancing value-added features against the fee charged, and business constraints. In terms of the latter, working within a fee budget is most influential. The choice between active and passive management and the use of more costly alternative assets is often dictated by the fee that the business has decided to charge. Administration and informational constraints also have an impact through limiting what designs are possible. Overall, the task that fund providers face in designing their MySuper product is best described as trying to cater for the retirement needs of a particular default member base while meeting the requirements and constraints imposed by the business. The outcome is a variety of MySuper designs and approaches, reflecting differences in both member bases and business context. As a consequence, the vision that MySuper might have led to a collection of cheap and easy to compare products has not been borne out.